Wait a minute. It's Friday? It's time for Stan the Fan, Chief Grand Poobah Man, and the Friday Baseball Show. Griffin Bass helps bring more class to the Friday Baseball Show. They'll talk best games, Dan Charles his name on the Friday Baseball Show. He's been in the owner's suite, he's been doing sports talk since 81. He's only lived in Baltimore for 45 years, but we'll give him a break on that, They'll acknowledge football, don't expect calls, it's the Friday Baseball Show. It's okay to say Glenn's back on Monday, but this is the Friday Baseball Show. The Friday Baseball Show. The Friday Baseball Show. Duke still sucks.
Who threw that in there? Who threw it? Was that Glenn?
No, that was Chris. That was Chris.
That was
Chris.
Chris.
Chris Erich, yeah.
He knows. All right. Well, Chris Ayers.
Erich.
Did it. Erich.
There you go.
Erich.
Yes.
Did a nice job on that.
Of course he did. Of course he did. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Chris. Really appreciate it. It is the Friday Baseball Show. Stan the Fan in the usual Glenn Clark slot on Fridays with Griffin Bass.
That's me.
Yep. Pretty soon, Griffin Bass will be the only Bass on the air.
Wow. It sounds like a threat to somebody else almost.
That's not a threat.
It's not
Marty
a threat? Okay.
Bass is retiring.
He is. When's he officially retiring?
I do not know the exact date. I do not know, but it's soon.
Are you breaking news?
No.
Okay.
It's been announced about 3-4 weeks ago.
Okay. Right.
Anyway.
Well, because I know Jerry Sandusky's retiring, like this
Yeah.
weekend.
Yeah.
So I wasn't sure.
I'm not retiring.
You're not
In fact,
retiring.
I'm just starting the Friday Baseball Show.
You got new
I
ventures.
I got new territory to cover. Anyway, we are here to talk mostly baseball on Fridays. Quite a show today. We've got at 11:15 Orioles. He's not the bench coach, but he's a field instructor.
The Orioles infield coach, I believe, is his
He's
literal
the infield coach.
Yes, is his
And that
official
is
title.
Miguel Cairo. And I wanted to have him on, Griffin, to talk. I almost called you Luke, because Luke Jones is going to be on with us at 11:45.
We had a good show today. Yeah.
Yeah, and 12:05, Hall of Fame broadcaster Tom Hamilton,
Wow.
who does the radio for the Cleveland Guardians, will join us. So it is an action-packed show, including this week and the rest of baseball, and a preview of Stan's MLB power rankings. We'll also give you a little tubular thing later in the show as well.
We definitely will.
Starting off, though, the Orioles.
Yeah, they that was not fun, really. I mean, I guess it was kind of close in the ninth inning. Like it was, Cleveland had to make some big time plays.
I have Parker Messick on my.
Oh, so you were actually rooting.
Team.
You were happy the entire game.
I was not rooting. I would have been very fine with an Oriole 1-0 victory last night, but
Shane Baz said no.
Shane Baz said no to that, and in fact, Shane Baz says no to a lot of things right now. They're talking about him as if he's number one type quality pitcher, and he definitely has the stuff.
Said, yeah.
I think Ben McDonald's hit the nail on the head. I think with Shane Baz, a little less is more. I mean, I think starting Jose Ramirez off with a fastball might not be the best way to present yourself, Anyway.
Well, maybe you just gotta ride the fire, see if you can't get it by him, and just kind of really figure out what you're dealing with here.
Yeah.
But that wasn't the best decision, was it?
No, and he seems to have a few of those per game. I'm hoping that he can live up to what they both gave up for him and what they signed him for. So far, I'd say mixed results with Shane Baz. You know, you do see the stuff is tremendous, but, you know, a lot of people can turn around 98, 97, 98 mile an hour fastballs, you know. Parker Messick was fabulous last night.
He kind of reminded me of John Means, I feel like. Just like he's not overpowering, but like just crafty. He hits his spots, great command. Like it was.
He's got a delivery, though, that makes his stuff play a little faster. You know, I mean.
He's a big guy. I mean.
Yeah, he's a big guy.
What official?
He looked brilliant last night. Ben McDonald thought he pitched a lot like Tarek Skubal.
Yeah, that's 6 foot 225. So he's not like crazy tall, but he's definitely like built.
No, he's a burly.
Yeah.
He's a burly guy. Tonight, game time 6:10 again, and it will be 6:10 tomorrow night as well.
I believe so.
Yeah. And then 1:35,
1:40
on Sunday. Tomorrow will tonight or this evening will be Chris Bassett versus Tanner Bybee. And that game time will be 6:10. There's no word on anything to do with Tyler. Today is what, the 17th?
Yes.
So he's not eligible till the 18th for Tyler O'Neill.
For O'Neill to come back?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess he has to spend 7 days retroactive to no, he could come back because I think it was retroactive to the 9th.
Okay. Well,
So
anyway, there doesn't seem to be a huge.
Do you think he would solve all their left-handed pitching issues? I mean, Stan, how do we talk about this? Like the way, the whole, you go out and you get Pete Alonso, you get Taylor Ward. It's to improve against. They were awful last year against left-handed pitching,
right.
And now the first 2 left-handers they faced this year, I guess they scored the most runs anyone has all season off at Eduardo Rodriguez on Thursday or Wednesday. But yesterday, they get no hit for 8 innings. Like, what?
Well, I think it's a little too early to start. I want to give Messick. Messick's been doing this to everybody so far.
I mean, that's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair.
I mean, right now, if you had to select an American League pitcher right today, the vote was today, he'd be right there as a Cy Young candidate.
Yeah, I guess
now
I'm
not saying he will be a month from now, but right now he's so. I'm not going to jump to any conclusions.
But the fact that they have to put out an outfield configuration that they did on Wednesday, and you have Weston Wilson in the lineup, you have Jonathan Rodriguez, and I know these injuries are piling up, but like, I'm getting sick of the,
here's my take.
Not batting guys against left-handers because they're also left-handed.
Here's my take on Wednesday's game. There's no way in the world I'm going to sacrifice Taylor Ward's little above adequate defense to play a person that's not really an outfielder.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that. I get if you want to get Wilson in the game, DH him. But Ward should one more day off of his feet is not going to, suddenly. It's not as if Taylor Ward has been showing signs that he's tiring.
He's not Tyler O'Neill, where he plays 3 days in a row and then all of a sudden he can't play for a week.
He's a 155 game a year guy. So I wouldn't have done that. The other thing I'm going to do is right now. And I'll give Craig Albernaz some credit that he knows Jonathan Rodriguez far better than we do.
Sure.
But if I'm playing Jonathan Rodriguez, he's not batting above Jeremiah Jackson right now by 2 positions. In other words, right now, if he wants to play this right-handed configuration against left-handers, Jeremiah Jackson's going to bat behind Alonso to me. Not Jonathan Rodriguez. Agree?
Yeah.
Disagree?
Yeah. At this point, you have to. I mean, but they've gone 2 days in a row, and clearly, the whatever the computer says is that Jonathan Rodriguez should be batting 4th, behind Pete Alonso. I mean, that's
Well, he won't be batting 4th tonight.
Thank goodness.
Yeah. Tanner Bybee will be in the game, so I'm expecting Dylan Beavers to get in probably as a designated hitter. Here's a question. Last night, you score 2 runs, and it's 4-2, and you got runners at was it second and third?
Second and third, yeah, and you pinch hit Cowser. Yeah,
you pinch hit Cowser. Who do you really like for your chances to get a base hit there? Cowser or Beavers?
Beavers,
now
100%. Yeah, they did say.
He said after the game that Beavers hasn't been feeling well. But if he's active and you need a hit in the top of the 9th inning.
Or even a guy to work a walk, just extend the game.
Yeah, I just think that Beavers was a better selection.
Yeah, I mean, Cowser immediately he swings at the first 2 pitches and misses, he fouled one off, but. Yeah,
I mean, look, I get wanting to have some faith in your players, and so the Orioles suddenly, after winning 6 out of 7, now they have lost 3 ball games in a row, and the pitching matchup tonight is not favorable. We get one of the top 3. The Indians have 3 really good starting pitchers. The Guardians. Gavin Williams,
they do.
Tanner Bybee, and Parker Messick.
And then
this
probably
Joey
another
Cantillo is pretty darn good too.
And he's a left-hander, and every Orioles make every left-hander look like Cy Young.
We're going to face Cantillo, right?
Sunday. Trevor Rogers versus Cantillo, and then tomorrow together another probably unfavorable, at least on paper, Dean Kramer versus Gavin Williams.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's what we said last Saturday as well when Logan Webb was facing off with Chris Bassett, and saw how that played out Saturday night against the Giants. But
it's again remarkable, and you got to give Mike Elias a little bit of a break because you couldn't have calculated that Zach Eflin, who could have been a sort of a 3, I think he would give you a chance to win more than Kramer and more than Bassett. So to me, he would be like number 3 if he were pitching well and he were healthy. After 3 2/3 innings, his season was done, and it really harkens back to the decision not to go more balls in on Framber Valdez.
I like it, balls in. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. I mean,
all
speaking of
balls in.
injuries, so there was an update yesterday regarding Jackson Holliday. Matt Holliday was doing the Cardinals Foul Territory podcast.
Okay.
And he actually provided a pretty in-depth answer about Jackson, about at least an update rather about how Jackson.
How long is this?
It's about like 90 seconds, 2 minutes here. So we'll go ahead and let Matt
Holliday.
This is such a tricky injury because he had the surgery, and it's such an integral part of hitting, and so he was working, obviously coming back, and he had some soreness on the opposite side, which, as you guys, as sometimes there's you kind of compensate with some stuff. So his wrist on the opposite side got a little bit sore. So he was in Norfolk, and then now he went back to Baltimore and got some reassurance that everything was fine. And then, he just had some inflammation on the other side of his wrist. And so taking some anti-inflammatories, and then he's going to go back on rehab. I think he's going to go to Frederick maybe today. I don't know if he's playing tonight, maybe tomorrow and Sunday, and then reevaluate for, I think that, every minor league team's off Monday, possibly back to Norfolk for Tuesday and Wednesday, and then kind of see where they're at. So he's working his way back. Obviously don't want to rush it. Make sure that he feels strong and ready. As you guys know, the big leagues is a bear to tackle, especially if you're not feeling 100%. So I think it's just being cautious with the wrist and making sure when he does get activated that he's 100% confident where he's at physically, so that he can get out there.
That's about the gist of it. But yeah. I mean, kind of backs up, what we've been seeing this week, why we saw Jackson Holliday hanging out in the dugout, earlier in the week against Arizona, and
he was back here for medical reevaluation, and the decision was made to sort of bench him for a few days and let it calm down and give him some anti-inflammatories. This happens to some people. It's like a 50-50 thing. Some people, like Corbin Carroll, get right at it, and he hasn't missed a beat. Francisco Lindor just drove in his first run and hit his first home run after about 12 games.
Right.
So he clearly hasn't been exactly up to speed. So we'll keep our eyes on Jackson Holiday, and hopefully his progression warrants his activation maybe sometime next week.
Hopefully, I mean, that's the way that Matt's talking about it. I'm sure he's on the far more optimistic end but I'm sure the Orioles are going to want to play it safe and be careful.
So here's the question: we've been dealing with Westberg and Holiday on the IL for 7 weeks now. Knowing that they were not going to be ready. Westberg, we have no idea. He's like the Matabike of the Orioles right now. We just don't really have a good sense of whether they think he'll be able to play or not. And they don't know us that definitive, but to give us some update would be appreciated by Mike Elias. And I don't think that's an invasion of his privacy to say the PRP is either working, it hasn't worked, we're going to reevaluate what to do next, but they have given us no inkling of what's happening. But here's the thing, and I just want to remind folks, we're expecting a call from Miguel Cairo momentarily. Luke Jones is going to join us at approximately 11:45, and at 12:05, Hall of Fame broadcaster Tom Hamilton of the Guardians will join us on the show today. But if this were 3 weeks ago, who would you have thought would be the most likely guy to leave the roster when Jackson Holiday was coming? Wouldn't it probably have been Jeremiah Jackson?
Yeah,
3 weeks ago?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't. The first couple weeks, like the first week or two, I guess, maybe a week and a half. Wasn't really getting in there.
Yeah, he wasn't playing that much.
Obviously, Blaze was obviously the 9th, 10th guy on the roster that they wanted to and he was playing really well too. Blaze was playing well. He was putting the ball in play at least, and he was playing great defense. And then obviously they've had a few more injuries. Kobe Mayo hasn't been hitting, so that's given Jeremiah Jackson reason to get into the lineup, and he has seized the opportunity, and he's been like the most exciting player to watch on the team over the last 7 days.
So my question is, how does this get? Let's just say best case scenario that Jackson Holiday is a week away. Mm-hmm. Okay, now it's a week down the road. Jackson, I'm not saying he has to hit home runs every game, but he's still hitting well, and Kobe Mayo is still kind of floundering and not adding much defensively or offensively.
He made a nice double play last night.
Yeah, robbing my hitter, Angel Martinez.
Well, we knew that was going to happen.
Yeah, we did know that. But here's the deal. How would you configure your infield? We know Holiday's not going to play third base.
Right.
Jeremiah Jackson played a tiny bit of third last year, and first of all, he scared the death out of me at second base last year. He was even worse at third base. The work that Miguel Cairo has done, and that's why I wanted to have him on to talk about the work. And, of course, he'll give all the credit to the player, and the player does at the end of the day. But what have they worked on with this guy? Because he looks like an entirely different defender. Could that translate into him playing third base at a level that he's playing second base right now?
Yeah, I mean that's a good question. I mean, how much was he just working on second base? Yeah, was he going everywhere? Was he playing any shortstop? Was he playing anywhere?
Right.
I mean, when Holiday gets back,
he's a perfectly competent right fielder.
Right, I know. So that was probably what I was going to start proposing. Like, I like Blaze a lot at third base. If Kobe Mayo's not going to hit, I like Blaze a lot at third base.
Right.
Holiday's got to play second, I think, because we assume Holiday's. He's got to get it going at some point, and you can't keep just you can't keep playing him every other day or however.
Right. No, he's gonna be in.
So I mean, I wouldn't hate seeing Jeremiah. I mean, we've obviously been complaining about Jonathan Rodriguez and Weston Wilson in the outfield this week, but if Jeremiah Jackson's going to be hitting over 300, and obviously all of a sudden he's got
to have a spot in the lineup.
And he's not an awful right fielder. Like he's an athlete, obviously. So that's why I wouldn't hate seeing Jeremiah Jackson in right field if it has to come to that.
But what about third base? In other words,
I mean, I'd be worried. I'd be worried about him at third base. I think Kobe Mayo's looked. I mean, for everything regarding Kobe Mayo coming into the year, it was, oh God, this guy's gonna have to play third base. His third base hasn't been. I haven't been bothered by his third base play. Obviously, batting 100 is much more troublesome.
I was hopeful that his hitting that he had last September and through spring training was going to, and it did start that way. Like 4 or 5 games in, it looked like he was gonna. Are we taking a break?
I think that's what we should do. So we can try to get things back on track here, Stan.
All right,
yeah.
let's take a timeout right now. When we get back, we'll hope
before we do that, we'll talk about something that we got available now at everyone's local High's Dairy Store.
The new, by the way, my screen is not on.
Oh, it isn't? Okay, I'll fix that.
The new issue of Press Box is out right now, and Bill Ordine penned the story, The Future of the Preakness. And it's a look at both the history of the Preakness a little bit, what happened to it over the last 7 or 8 years, and also a look ahead at what Maryland racing might look like when
sounds like there's going to be
returns.
Quite a few changes soon.
Yeah.
So definitely want to check that out.
All right, Bill Ordine did a great job as he always does. We'll pay a few bills and hopefully make our connection with Miguel Cairo. This is Stan the Fan. You know we talk all the time about our O's stepping up in the big moments, delivering when it matters most. If you've been injured in a car accident anywhere around Baltimore, that's your big moment, and you need someone who delivers. That's why I'm here to tell you about Warnken Injury Lawyers. They fight for Baltimore families every single day. Insurance companies play games. Warnken plays to win. So call 443-RESULTS. That's 443-RESULTS, or go to warnkenlaw.com. When you need results, it's right there in the number, 443-RESULTS.
Your car is more than just a ride. It's an investment. At Leading Edge Auto Body in Mount Washington, we've spent over 20 years perfecting the art of repair. From high-end imports to your trusted daily driver, we handle all makes and models with elite precision. Our team holds the highest honors in the industry, including ASE Master, iCar Platinum, and specialized aluminum certifications. We make it easy with free towing, pickup, and delivery, because at Leading Edge, customer satisfaction comes first. And remember, with insurance, it's your car and it's your choice. Choose the experts. Leading Edge Auto Body. Quality you can see. Service you can trust. Go to leadingedgeautobody.com today.
The weather's getting cooler, so when you and your family are picking out a place to dine, be it lunch or dinner, let's make it nice and easy. Now, with 2 great locations, the Costas Inn remains your #1 destination. Whether you want to get steamed crabs and the full Costas menu out at the original location at 4100 North Point Boulevard, or sample the complete menu minus the steamed crabs at the new location above the grandstand at the Timonium Racetrack, Costas is your place to go. Check out the website, CostasInn.com, for a look at the menu, and if you want to plan that crab feast, call 410-477-1975. The Costas Inn.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
The latest edition of Press Box is available now. On the cover, Bill Ordine dives in on how different Preakness will be temporarily at Laurel Park and then long-term once it returns to Pimlico. Also inside, Luke Jackson learns more about what Trey Hendrickson will bring to the Ravens. And Karuga Koinange looks at how Samuel Basayo is influencing the Orioles' international signing efforts. Press Box is available for free at over 250 locations throughout the region, including your Baltimore area High's Dairy stores. Plus, you can read the entire issue online at PressBoxOnline.com, where you can also find great betting advice and the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps.
It's Gus Johnson, and you're listening to the baseball show with Griffin Bass. It's the Fan Charles!
Was that your brother again?
It sounded like Gus Johnson.
Gus Johnson. Gus Johnson passed away about 40 years
Not
ago.
that Gus Johnson, the play-by-play.
Oh, that Gus
Gus
Johnson.
That's what it sounded like. I think that's who
Okay.
that was.
Okay, all right. All right. That's not what I meant when I said to do a few liners.
What are you talking about? That was Gus. You don't want Gus Johnson introducing, rejoining the show?
No. I don't want him. I don't want Colton Cowser. No.
Those are the guys that listen to the show, though. Gus, Colton.
I'm very happy that they do.
I don't know if I can get him. I don't know if I can get him to record a new.
Let me give fans the news, and it's really more my bad. Jack Eidelberg, my friend with Orioles PR, emailed me at 9:52 this morning that Miguel Cairo has a conflict in his schedule and will not be joining us today. Okay,
that's a bummer.
So maybe we can get him to do a liner for the show next week.
Maybe. We can
This
try.
is Miguel Cairo.
That's what he sounds like?
Yeah, I think.
Or is that?
I think that's a.
You mean ask my brother to see if he can do a Miguel Cairo?
Yeah, that would be great if he can do that. That would be great.
Lucas, go ahead. Get on that.
All right. So we've gone from having a very good show today to just a good show. Luke Jones is going to join us at 11:45.
He's all right.
Yeah, Luke does a good job with WNST.net, and we'll talk to Luke both about the Orioles and his impressions of the Ravens Liars Lunch on Wednesday.
And probably get a breakdown of the new uniform.
Did you have any thoughts on – I could care less about the Ravens uniforms. I'm more concerned about the players they put in the uniforms.
That's I agree. Lamar Jackson's the quarterback, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Then I think I'm yeah.
Yeah. My question is –
They look – I mean,
my question is, did you have any thoughts about why the Ravens – couldn't have held their press conference yesterday
instead of at the same time as the Orioles game?
Same time as the Orioles?
No.
I'm sure that they
they
were aware of it and probably said that's too bad, but
I mean the only thing I can think is they had meetings with either a player or something. I guess because the uniform thing was last night.
Okay.
That's why they didn't want to do it the same day. I mean, they still why not make it the same? But I guess they're making because I know some of the beat writers
really would have been horrible to have the uniform thing on Monday or something like that.
Yeah, well, I guess they rented out Merriweather, so I guess it was a big deal.
They did a big deal.
Yeah, it was a big deal.
Oh, I
there was
didn't
a ton
know
of people
that.
there. All the PSL owners and stuff were at Merriweather, and they had
to drive out
like
to
Trey
Columbia
Hendrickson.
with the gas prices the way they are. That's really a big favor.
Well, if they're a PSL owner, I mean, I don't think they care about the gas prices right now, do they?
I used to be a PSL owner.
Used to, keyword.
And I care about the gas prices. Anyway, Orioles on a 3-game losing streak. They've got 3 more games in Cleveland against the Guardians. Tonight at 6:10, tomorrow at 6:10, 1:40 on Sunday. They will then go to Kansas City. And am I right, Griffin?
I did it again.
I did it again. Am I right? Do they play Kansas City Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday?
Correct, yes.
Okay.
And
all 3, 2 night games and a day game?
Yes.
Okay.
7:40, 2:10.
Okay.
And then finally off next Thursday.
Yeah. Boy, that game went quick last night.
Well, that's what happens when you don't get any freaking hits.
Yeah. Do we have to use such language?
Sorry.
Yeah. You're making a freaking mockery of
some
the
flipping
show.
hits.
Yeah.
No flipping hits for the Orioles.
Do you have any thoughts right now on your opinion of what the Ravens will do on a week from yesterday?
What I want them to do is go O-line. I think they definitely need to beef up the trenches, as you mentioned. Before we broke here, the Nnamdi Madubuike situation continues to be very much in flux. I think everyone's kind of hopeful and keeping their fingers crossed. He posted that workout video a few weeks ago. Making everyone excited. Thinking,
I never saw the video. Did he?
He wasn't doing a whole lot. I mean, he was like throwing like a med ball and he was like running around.
Okay.
Like he was. But the fact that he clearly had been working out. Like
okay.
that's I think that was kind of the point.
Okay.
And so yeah, there's still a lot up in the air of what is gonna happen with Madubuike. I mean, if Madubuike is healthy, then I feel infinitely better about the defensive line.
Right. So are you saying O-line or one
well,
of the
well,
other?
that's what I mean. If depending what information they have about Nami Madubuike, I think they need to, make it a priority to get a big guy up front in the middle of the defensive line, or if that happens to be an edge rusher too. I'm not gonna hate that if they get. I'm not gonna hate grabbing an elite edge rusher early. Just which guys are going to be available to them, based on where they're picking. But it seems like O-line just makes the most logical sense. That guy Awani.
So if you were betting, you would bet O-line.
No, if I was betting, I would bet Kenyon Sadiq.
Okay.
Just because that's like.
I think that's.
It seems like the quintessential Ravens pick, where after night one of the draft, everyone's going to be like, how did we let the Ravens? How did we let this freak of an athlete drop to the Ravens? And that's if he's there at 14.
How much have you seen him play? I haven't.
As much as I watched Oregon last year, and he looked pretty damn good with Oregon every time he was on the field. I mean, he's the best blocking tight end in the draft. He's obviously the best receiving tight end in the draft.
Do you feel confident?
He's got ridiculous measurables. He's a massive dude. He's fast.
Do you feel confident he'll be there at 14?
No, I don't. I mean, it depends. Yeah, if Kansas City's at 10, if he's there at 10 and they know Travis Kelce's 36, however old Travis Kelce is, could be his final year, then why wouldn't they take Sadiq? But also, they're picking at 10, so they might have there could be more. What if Ruben Bain's there? If Jeremiah Love falls or whatever, I don't think Jeremiah Love will fall, but
I think if he's there, I think that's who they're going to take because he
Kansas
sounds
City
like
or the Ravens.
The Ravens. I think that he's the most special player in this perhaps in this draft.
It's definitely hard to argue that with the way. I mean, it's just not it's not like overly flashy draft really. I mean, I think Carnell Tate looks like Carnell Tate, a wide receiver from Ohio State. He looks really, really good, and he looks really, really exciting. I don't think he'll be there at 14. I like Ruben Bain a lot. There's a lot of question marks about where he'll go. So that's the guy I would take over Kenyon Sadiq, but I don't think he'll be there at 14. It makes a lot of sense to Cincinnati. Makes a lot of sense to Cincinnati. Makes sense to Kansas. I mean, he makes sense to anyone.
Is there any chance the O-line guy that they're mostly sort of thought to be after is the Penn State guy?
That's just because he's a guard, I guess.
Yeah.
But that's another reason why,
But is there any chance one of the other O-linemen fall to them? The guy from Utah?
Yeah, Fano. He's the one from Fano. Fano is Utah.
Yeah.
I mean, he could. That's the thing. I mean, we don't really know. We're not positive really about anything outside of kind of the top three. I think we're pretty obviously Mendoza's going to go 1, and then I think David Bailey.
He's going to go 1.
Arvell Reese is 2 and 3 in some order. Bailey and Reese. Jeremiah Love seems like everyone's pretty confident that he's going to go top 5. If not 5, 6. So. I don't know. Could you see John Harbaugh taking a running back at 5 or 6 that high? Who knows? That's why I think everybody thinks Fano sounds like a Harbaugh guy. That's where Harbaugh might go.
Right.
He wants to get the O-line big in his first draft.
And what about the Giants with the trading of
Dexter Lawrence? Do you think Harbaugh would trade with the Ravens?
Well, I think Harbaugh would. Why wouldn't he if he gets what he wants to get,
Right? Yeah, I mean, if they give up a 1, if they give up their first round pick, but I don't know if I'd be willing to do that. I mean, this guy, he clearly doesn't like his contract, so they'd have to figure out his contract. He's very good. I mean, I can't. I mean, he would be Nami Madubuike, I think.
Yeah,
that's what he is.
Yeah.
And that also, that's why it's just so cloudy because what is Nami Madubuike? Or is he part of their plans? I don't think you can operate with him as part of your plans. So.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, so I wouldn't hate Dexter Lawrence by any means.
Yeah.
I think if there's a deal to be made, but I'm not sure. I don't know if is it better to have Dexter Lawrence than Kenyon Sadiq or Awani or whoever you think you're going to get it.
The Giants have a second number 1.
No.
Okay,
they have
the
5.
number the pick at 5.
They have the 5th overall pick.
So they're not going to give us the pick.
I don't think they would swap unless the Ravens gave next year's 1. Maybe they are they willing to do that?
But I don't
they were for Crosby.
I don't think Harbaugh is playing a long game. In other words, I think he wants to get something immediate.
Yeah, I think he wants to win this year. Right? Yeah, I agree.
All right. We'll talk more Ravens draft at 11:45 with Luke Jones of WNST.net. Tom Hamilton will join us at 12:05. Anything else strike you right now in Major League Baseball? I mean, the Mets they've been pretty awful since Soto went down.
Yeah, they have. Do you wanna jump right in? Jump right into what we like to talk about on Fridays with This Week in the Rest of Baseball, or do you just want to focus on the Mets right now?
No, let's just, unless they're in your, are they in
the Mets?
your?
Not necessarily. We're not. I was going to focus on the good teams.
Yeah. Okay. Let's stick with that. I'm just talking
the Mets, the
in
worst
general.
team in baseball.
Yeah.
White Sox obviously aren't good. I've not been focusing on the bottom of the standings.
No, but the Mets were in my top 5 initially.
Oh, you mean you want to do power rankings then right now? We can do that.
No, I want to do the power rankings later. I just wanted to talk about the Mets for a minute.
All right.
Okay. Losers of how many in a row now?
They've lost 8 in a row.
They've lost 8 in a row. The owner, Steve Cohn, has come out and basically said, he's asking fans to be patient. Do you think Steve Cohn will keep his patience with David Stearns?
I mean, how much? Yeah, I guess it's a much different power. How much different is the power structure there than it was in Baltimore? Like, it seems like Mike Elias obviously is kind of running everything. So
I think
does
Stearns. I think Stearns runs everything.
So then why wouldn't they get rid of the manager first before Stearns, right? Like
right.
that's like, why wouldn't they just follow kind of the model that the Orioles, set last season where Brandon Hyde's gonna be the fall guy in May.
Yeah.
So if
it's
this
just
continues,
interesting. 2 weeks ago, their starting pitching was looking pretty good. Clay Holmes, David Peterson.
Did Holmes get hit hard? What did
Holmes has had a bad outing. Senga hasn't been that good. They just and it's fascinating. You look at that trade they made. I watched that guy Brandon Sproat yesterday a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
He's pretty darn good.
Yeah, he is. I mean, I think that's why. Obviously, the Mets put way more money into their roster than the Orioles did, so I would be more confident that they can, their rotation is far better than the Orioles was last year. Like, Sanga's got great stuff. You would think he can figure it out. Noel McLean still looks really good.
Yeah, McLean is
Sproat, as you just said.
They looked totally outclassed by the Dodgers.
Well, and I think the good news is that's not going to be it's not going to be unique to the Mets that they're going to look outclassed by the Dodgers. What did Soto's got a calf?
They didn't even look. Who's got a calf?
Soto.
Yeah.
Soto, yeah.
Yeah. They didn't even look like they belonged on the same field.
Well,
as
I mean, like
Dodgers.
you're kind of laying it all out. Like, Soto isn't even on the team right now. Lindor is not himself. Like, you would think that maybe this thing might this Hammett thing's going to linger with Lindor probably for a little bit here. We saw it with Gunnar last year. He didn't have a Hammett injury, but he didn't have a spring training. He had a really slow start to the year, and then he kind of, as the weather warmed up and as he got healthier and his feet back under him, I'd be concerned, I guess, if I was the Mets, but I would not be.
I think you're right, though, that Stearns is probably safe. It's the manager, Mendoza, who, now, the flip side
but he's got to keep them above water here for, the month of,
the next couple weeks, he's got to keep until Soto comes back, and will that be enough? I mean, Bichette hasn't been what's bothered me about Bichette, and I had him on my fantasy team last year. He drove in, I think, 100 runs, didn't he?
He had a good year.
So he had a good year, but he doesn't look like the player he was like 3 or 4 years ago. Young, in terrific shape. He looks like he's gotten more kind of burly. That's a word I'm using because it described Parker Messick. But he looks kind of burly and
94 RBI last year.
94 RBIs.
Yeah. And then 24 he missed half the year with injury.
Right. He had the elbow problem, I think, that year. But their big pickups were Polanco at first base. Bichette was going to play third base, and then Luis Robert Those were their three big additions.
How's
lineup.
Robert been doing? Has he been?
Robert's been doing.
Yeah, I thought he's
well.
been doing fine. Yeah, I mean, I think it's weird they've lost 8 in a row. Like that's weird.
It
that
is
weird. But I think they could. They're far more built to weather an ugly April than the Baltimore Orioles were of last year.
They lost
right?
They lost 2 out of 3 against Arizona. They got swept by the A's at 3, so that's 5 in a row. And then they just lost 3 in a row to the Dodgers. They face the Cubs in Wrigley Field over the weekend.
This weekend?
Yeah, and I don't think they're getting. No, 3 weekends from now. 3 weekends.
Oh,
no,
right,
they're this weekend.
Well,
there's no sign. There's no sign that they're getting Soto back anytime very soon. So they're scuffling right now. The flip side of that coin was a team that I thought was going to be way down this year was the San Diego Padres, and they've now won 9 in a row.
Yeah, they look really good. I mean, they obviously they have not played the Dodgers yet, correct? I don't think
that is correct.
So that'll be the first time they've faced the Dodgers. Will be really interesting. They were going to be a team obviously we would talk about on Twib when we get there.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're obviously the vibes in San Diego are ridiculous, and that's the team that I look at as an Orioles fan, and I'm like, why can't Baltimore beat San Diego, right?
Yeah.
Like, why can't we spend a little bit of money, spend some money and try to sell out our ballpark every night? Like, why?
They were 6-1, and last week, and this week they just finished sweeping Seattle, so they're 10-1 over the last 11 games, or 9-1.
It's pretty good.
Sorry.
I mean, they got a guy to lock down the 9th inning, and
Yep.
they've got Jackson Merrill, obviously, who plays great defense and swings the bat. And
I'm sorry,
Manny
they
Machado.
they're 10-1. Yeah, Machado is ironically not been.
He was great
productive.
last year,
Yeah.
but he's having more modest this season.
Well, it's interesting. They brought in a first-time manager in Craig Stamen, and
they're going to bat Ramon Laureano leadoff now.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know. I've noticed. He's having a nice year.
Yeah, good player.
Yeah, very good player.
Could have been
got
nice
Boston Bateman,
Yeah.
though. We've got Boston.
Who else we get? We got Butterworth. We got Butterworth in there.
Butterworth.
We
Yeah,
got,
Mrs. Butterworth.
We got a lot of good. We got a lot of fun names to say in that one, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boston Bateman, and what's Butterworth's first name?
Brandon
Butterworth.
Brandon Butterworth.
That's a good name. It's a good name. This is the kind of stuff you get here on the Friday Baseball Show. All right, that's just a quick look at the ups and downs. The Mets down, and the San Diego Padres winners of 9 in a row.
We also got Cobb Hightower, Tyson Neighbors. That one's fun to say. Victor Figueroa.
We got 5 players.
Victor Figueroa was tearing up Aberdeen last year.
Right.
I don't know what he's done this year, actually.
Is he
6 players? Tanner Smith is the 6th.
Okay.
Yeah.
We got 6 players for all right.
For O'Hearn and Laureano.
Yep. Yeah, and they chose not to keep O'Hearn.
Yeah. Well, contract was up, but yeah.
I think he's such a perfect fit in Pittsburgh.
He seems
I
like
think he's a blue collar guy.
They're a young team that is trying to. They're winning baseball games right now. So,
well, they brought in 3 veteran players in Brandon Lau, Marcelo Osuna, and Ryan O'Hearn, and for the most part, it's worked. Osuna has been awful.
Right, yeah.
Absolutely awful.
Tied atop the NL Central.
Yeah.
With your Cincinnati Reds.
It's funny because I really liked Osuna because if you take and when you get 35 years of age, you can't just say, well, toss out last year. But last year he was terrible with Atlanta. The 2 preceding years he drove in 100 runs. So you looked at his numbers last year and you said, was it due to some injuries or is he done? And it now looks like he's done. I was very much interested in him if he played the outfield, but he no longer plays the outfield. He's
right.
DH only, and he's been really terrible so far this year. All right, we're going to make our connection with Luke Jones of WNST.net. Apologies that we weren't able to spring Miguel Cairo for you. We will try and reschedule him for a future Friday baseball show. Really wanted to talk to him, though, about the improved defense of one Jeremiah Jackson. All right, but we are joined by Luke Jones of WNST.net, one of the renowned columnists in this city. How long have you been doing this now, Luke? Has it been about 12 years?
Oh, it's a little longer than that. I guess my first year in the Orioles was 2010, so we're up on year 17, I guess, on that beat. So it's been a little longer than you said, but I appreciate it. That means you think I'm younger.
Well, Luke, you always look young. So you've got that going for you.
I got something going for you, yeah.
Yeah. Hey, I wanted to have Miguel Cairo on today, and we had him scheduled, and he ended up with a conflict. But one of the things everybody's talking about Jeremiah Jackson's offense, I wanted to talk to him about his defense at second base. To me, he looks like an entirely different defender than he did in 2025 when he was up with the Orioles. Your thoughts?
Yeah. I mean, I think a big part of that was, keep in mind, he was mostly playing a corner outfield spot last year. And, I mean, it's his first time in the major leagues. It wasn't exactly his natural position. So, yeah, there were some moments where he looked a little bit like a fish out of water. But keep in mind, this was a middle infielder in the minor leagues, and I think, he played some third base last year, very little. That didn't look great, but you kind of see him over the course of, and I wasn't down in Sarasota for spring training, but putting in a lot of work and obviously putting a little more focus there. But he's been really good there. I mean, face it, Stan. I mean, I don't think Jackson.
Hey, Luke, can we call you right back? We're getting a bad connection on your phone. Can we call you right back? Okay. We're going to call him right back. So we're 0 for 2. We went from having a very good show to no Miguel Cairo and a bad connection with guest number 2. All right. Well, that shows you've got to be prepared. You got to be better prepared when you come in to do the Friday baseball show. Maybe do some more homework. All right. Luke, we're back with you. Hopefully this works.
Yeah, sorry about that.
That's okay.
Guess we had a bad connection.
Yep, that's okay.
Yeah, to go back to Jeremiah Jackson, your question on him. I mean, last year he was playing a lot of right field. That's something that he hadn't really been accustomed to doing at the minor league level. I know he played a little bit in the minors. He's playing some third base, which, again, not really his best position. But, yeah, this is a guy who played primarily shortstop and second base in the minor leagues, and more so, I think more so on the shortstop side. So he had a spring where, you kind of look at the depth chart and say, all right, he's not going to be focusing on the outfield. So he's played a really good second base. And it's funny because obviously we all view Jackson Holliday as the second baseman long-term here in Baltimore, but keep in mind, Jackson Holliday is very new at the second base position. That was even kind of a sticking point of conversation for many Orioles fans. Why didn't he get more reps at second base in the minor leagues? I think Jeremiah Jackson's played a cleaner version of second base, albeit a very small sample size here, than what we've even seen from Holliday over, starts of 2 major league seasons. So he's been a really pleasant surprise defense. And obviously, when you're hitting home runs, it certainly helps. So he's been one of the bright spots so far here in 2026, no doubt.
So one more question about Jeremiah Jackson. If Miguel Cairo, and this is my sort of observation, that Cairo must have worked with him extensively in spring training, do you think that the improvements he's made at second could carry, because I'm looking ahead 10 days from now, let's just assume Holiday's back in 10 days. Could Jeremiah Jackson play third base with some of the skill set that he seems to have developed? Do you think he could play that position? Because Kobe Mayo, while he hasn't been a colossal failure defensively, he's now back to being suspect offensively. So that's my question.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a fair question. I can't sit here with any strong conviction and say, yes, he can definitely play that. He's played it before. It didn't go great when he was playing there last year. I think he made 10 starts there, so we're not talking about a whole lot. But that said, yeah, you kind of look at this and you say, well, right now, I mean, Kobe Mayo, and I'm in agreement with you, his defense has probably been slightly better than I thought it would be.
Exactly.
But nothing to write home about.
Yep.
And he's just not doing anything with the bat to this point. So I'd at least be curious to see it. I know everyone's talked about their defense collectively. I mean, this is not a very good defensive ball club. I mean, it just isn't. But that said, if you're going to have a question mark at third base either way, I certainly, regardless of where he's going to play, the way Jeremiah Jackson's swinging the bat, I don't want to take him out of the lineup.
No, I agree.
So I think that's something that you would at least like to explore. Again, I'm not – it goes back to what I said. In the minor leagues, he was much more of a middle infielder, so that seems to be a little more of his sweet spot. But, I'd be open to it, put it that way. I'm open to this team trying lots of different things when it's coming to finding the right combination of being good enough defensively or certainly getting more consistent bats in the lineup because, let's face it, it's been a pretty choppy start for this team, and it's understandable in certain ways, but that's something I would be curious in at least exploring before saying definitively yes or no.
One more question about Jackson Holiday now. Clearly, Colton Cowser has lost his grip on, and it was never a firm grip, but he was the center fielder, and I think Craig Albernaz has realized that some of the problems that those of us that are familiar with Colton Cowser still see those offensive problems where he just doesn't see off-speed stuff well enough. Yeah. Could you see Jackson Holiday possibly as an idea in center field? Or do you think that's heaping too much on a young player who's just getting familiar with second base?
Yeah, I think it's a fair question if we're just looking at it in a vacuum, looking at it in a standpoint. But this is one thing I just have frustration about with the organization as a whole, that they try to do this, and I think it's tough for any player. Look, you'll remember Melvin Mora once upon a time, or you look at someone even a Ryan Flaherty who could bounce around 5-6 different positions. I think it's really difficult to do that. And in the case of Jackson Holiday, you're still, like I said, you're still trying to get him to master second base.
Yep.
And I just don't know. Like, if you want to tell him to do that in November and then work on it all, and then you see how it looks in Sarasota in February, I'm cool with that idea.
Yeah.
I just think right now that's tough. And I'll say this since you brought him up, because I might differ on this a little more than some other people. Like I said, I'd like to see this organization value defense a little bit more just in general.
Yeah.
And even with all the frustration with Colton Cowser, with his inability to hit off speed, I think he's their best defensive outfielder.
Yeah.
So even in the last night, he should bat ninth in that scenario. But some of the guys, you have Weston Wilson misplay a ball out in left field, albeit a tough play, but a guy that's not really equipped to play a quality left field at Camden Yards. I just look at the Holiday thing again. It's a fair question because I've wondered that at times too, but I don't know. I think it's one of those square peg round hole type scenarios where I'd really just like to see him try to settle in at second base. And, that's not even getting into becoming consistent offensively and now on the heels of coming off this hamate bone injury, which, that can be a tricky thing for a player to, one, come back, and two, really feel like himself. We've already seen him have to pump the brakes a little bit on that. So I think that's an –
Yeah. I just brought it up because I remember about 4 years ago talking to Omar Minaya, who was former general manager of the Mets, and he was back working with the Mets. And I was talking to him, and he says, it's interesting you asked that question because I was looking at that time like Westberg, like Mayo third, Henderson short, Westberg second, and I was asking him, do you think that that Holiday could play center field, and he goes, we were scouting him extensively because we had the number 9 pick, and going into his senior year of high school, that's about where he was thought to be going. His senior year changed all that. So Mania said he can play wherever on the diamond you want him to play. So I've always remembered that, and I see the bigger hole right now being perhaps center field. So, but I agree with you. Throwing him out to the Wolves now, it seems like that would be interesting if the club falls out of contention the second half of the year, maybe giving him a series of starts out there to see how he adjusts, and then maybe make it a project during the off season. But and I even think under that scenario, I mean, you just by that point you hope Enrique Bradfield's ready to come up to the major leagues and maybe I think in that regard. So it's an interesting. You there, Luke? Yeah, we got a bad connection. Let me try and finish up with some Raven talk real quick. I know you were at the luncheon. Were you able to glean anything from the stench of what they talk about there at those lunches? Stench is a little too harsh a word, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, they're not trying to give anything away. I think they know they need to be better. They need it. Offensive line overwhelmingly. I mean, it's not even close for me how much urgency there needs to be there. But they're going to. I think Costa said they have 197 draftable players. He acknowledged there's some drop off midway through the first round. So I think the Ravens are hoping they have the Hamilton scenario like a few years ago. I think Hamilton, let's say he was in their top 5 or 6 on their draft board, and they falls into their lap at 14. If that doesn't happen, I'm guessing in a perfect world, they'd probably prefer to trade back, but you need to have someone come forward. So I don't think there were any earth-shattering takeaways. They know they need offensive line help. I think it's really ambitious to try to just assume you're going to wait until the 2nd, 3rd, 4th round to try to do that. So that's where I think it'd be great if Fano from Utah or Vega for Penn State are available in the first round. I think either one of those guys are plug-and-play starters, but I think a lot of it was just kind of big picture. The one thing, there's an answer right there. He found that proceed in the draft as defensive tackle. I don't think that's true. Going to play or not.
Luke, we're losing you again. I apologize, Luke. We're gonna let you go. Apologies to Luke Jones at WNST.net, but our phone connection really bad. Okay, we lost all of that last couple sentences. We're going to take another timeout, and when we get back, we will be joined by Tom Hamilton, the voice of the Cleveland Guardians, and hopefully we'll have a better connection with him than we've had with Miguel Cairo and Luke Jones. We'll be right back on the other side of these words.
Your car is more than just a ride. It's an investment. At Leading Edge Auto Body in Mount Washington, we've spent over 20 years perfecting the art of repair. From high-end imports to your trusted daily driver, we handle all makes and models with elite precision. Our team holds the highest honors in the industry, including ASE Master, iCar Platinum, and specialized aluminum certifications. We make it easy with free towing, pickup, and delivery because at Leading Edge, customer satisfaction comes first. And remember, with insurance, it's your car and it's your choice. Choose the experts. Leading Edge Auto Body. Quality you can see. Service you can trust. Go to leadingedgeautobody.com today.
The weather's getting cooler, so when you and your family are picking out a place to dine, be it lunch or dinner, let's make it nice and easy. Now, with 2 great locations, the Costas Inn remains your #1 destination. Whether you want to get steamed crabs and the full Costas menu out at the original location at 4100 North Point Boulevard, or sample the complete menu minus the steamed crabs at the new location above the grandstand at the Timonium Racetrack, Costas is your place to go. Check out the website CostasInn.com for a look at the menu, and if you want to plan that crab feast, call 410-477-1975. The Costas Inn.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
This is Byron Warnken. If you've been injured in Maryland, you know you need a great lawyer. Look no further than us, Warnken LLC. You've seen my picture on billboards around town. You've seen me on TV. Now I'm lucky enough to get to be here with Stan. Please give us a call. 443-RESULTS. It is not just a phone number, it's a mission. 443-RESULTS. Or visit us online at warnkenlaw.com. That's WARNKENLAW.com.
Make the most out of every day in your Toyota RAV4. Available in hybrid or gas-only models. A RAV4 can get you where you want to go in style. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new RAV4s from your local Toyota dealer today.
Did you change the channel? You did not. You're listening to The Baseball Show with Griffin Bass and Stan Van Charles.
Who was that?
Yeah, who do you think it was?
I missed the beginning of it.
Oh, he said, did you change the channel? You did not. So it sounded like it was a cross between Gru from Despicable Me,
right,
before it turned into Arnold Schwarzenegger at the end.
Okay.
So that's what that sounded like. I didn't know he listened. So thanks to both Gru and Arnold.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, appreciate that.
I never knew Arnold was a fan.
Well, now you know.
Yeah.
Arnold is the fan of Stan the Fan. Yeah.
That's great. Great.
Yeah.
And he'll be back.
Yes, I'm sure he will. I'm sure he will. I'm sure we'll hear that one. So you like that one? That one you approve of?
That one was entertaining to an extent. All right. The Orioles play tonight after losing 3 in a row.
You seem flustered, Stan. What happened?
I was not prepared.
You weren't prepared to hear Arnold. Such a spot on Arnold.
I was seriously. I'm new at hosting the show again. So I said, man, what a show we got. This is going to be a piece of cake. And we had the unfortunate circumstance.
We've had to freaking talk about Mets baseball.
Mets baseball and the Padres winning streak. And Mason Miller's pretty good.
He is pretty good. I got some stats for you coming up in Twib.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a tease. It's called a tease. That's in radio, Stan. That's called a tease.
That's called a tease. All right. Again, Orioles in Cleveland tonight. Bassett versus Bybee at 6:10. Tomorrow at 6:10. That's Saturday at 6:10. It'll be Dean Kramer versus Gavin Williams. And then on Sunday afternoon at 1:40, it will be Trevor Rogers versus Joey Cantillo.
And then before Monday's game, Bradish looks like they haven't made anything official, but it looks like it'll have to be Bradish on Monday. Yeah. But before that game, you'll be talking some baseball before that, right, Stan?
Yeah. I'll be talking with clear connections to Ross Grimsley and Luke Jackson, not Luke Jones, Luke Jackson. But we appreciate Luke Jones being there for us today.
And where can you find those shows with yourself and Ross and Luke?
Yeah.
Where can you find
Monday, they're brought to you by the Costas Inn and the law offices of Byron Warnken. 443-RESULTS. If you've been injured in an accident in Baltimore, you want to bring out the big guns, all right? The heavy hitters, and Byron Warnken, one of the best, no question about it. In fact, I'll say he's the best, all right? Is Tom with us? Joining us now is somebody I've gotten to know only over the phone, Tom Hamilton, Hall of Fame broadcaster with the Cleveland Guardians. Do you find yourself, Tom, still lapsing into calling them the Indians, or are you that disciplined that you got it right from the day?
You know what? Every once in a while it slips. Now, the one thing we still do is that, if we're talking about whatever, things that happened either historically speaking or with certain players, I mean, if it was during the era that they were the Indians, they're the Indians.
Right.
I mean, so Jim Thome and Manny Ramirez and Albert Bell and Kenny Lofton, they were never Guardians. They were Indians. And so, but every once in a while, yeah, you still slip up. I mean, it's kind of the nature of the beast, and but it's getting easier, and there'll be a segment of the population that'll never be happy with that name, but that's life.
Yeah. We never really talk about the broadcaster's perspective on what occurred last night. How exciting is it from a broadcaster's perspective to be a part of what took place last night?
It is very much so, and I think last night in particular, and you try to always stay impartial, but there are certain players that come up that you just, I don't know, you have maybe a stronger affinity for, maybe just because of the kind of person that they are or the dealings you've had with them. And Parker Messick is just such a great kid and just has that aw shucks attitude, and I'm just happy to be here. And, such a humble guy. And yet when he's on that mound, he's about as fierce a competitor as there is in the game. And I think we obviously saw that again last night. He's old school. I think, I don't know what you folks thought watching or listening to it, in that, he doesn't light up the radar gun. He's throwing in the low 90s, but he pitches.
Yep.
He's not a thrower. He's a pitcher. And it's refreshing, and it also proves that as much as, people want to change how the game is being played or think that they've got new ways to make the game better or how to play it, still goes back to the same thing. I mean, if you think up the middle and hit line drives, you're going to be successful as a hitter. And if you change speeds and command the baseball, velocity's fine, but it's not the end all. And that was Parker Messick last night. And I mean, it was a brilliant effort, and credit to the Orioles. I mean, I thought that he had it. I really did think going into the ninth inning that he was going to finish it off, but Leotis Taveras took care of that, and then Baltimore darn near won the game.
Yeah, very close, very close. Got to ask you something about Parker Messick. I'm a fantasy baseball player, and I'm fortunate to have Parker Messick on my team. I picked him up last year and had him inexpensively. And then I follow this website called Roster Resource all off-season, and Messick was always listed as one of the 5 starters for this year. Then as spring training wore on, it was like nip and tuck that he was going to not make the team. It looked like at one time that they were going to keep Logan Allen over Messick and Cecchione over Messick, and Quintilla was coming on. Did you get a sense that there was a chance he might get optioned out because he had options?
No, I thought maybe the same thing as you did, but about midway through spring training, I was talking to our manager, Stephen Vogt, about the pitching rotation and
right.
the people that you mentioned and who might be the odd man out. And I just simply said, Voter, this kid has to make the ball club, doesn't he? And he goes, oh, yeah,
okay.
He makes this ball club. Now, could not say it publicly.
Right.
And so we went along with I don't want to call it a charade, but we certainly went along with the idea that, look, competition is still full bloom, and
yep.
there was competition, to your point, for that final spot. And but I was wondering the same thing. Would he be a victim of the fact that he has options remaining. But no, they knew by the middle of March that, look, this kid isn't our number 5 starter. This kid might be one of our 2 or 3 best starters.
Yeah. Yeah. Ben McDonald last night compared him. He thought he looked very similar to Tarek Skubal. You know, I know he doesn't have the velocity Skubal does, but he thought he pitched like Skubal. Griffin has a question for you, Tom.
Well,
no, go ahead.
You
Tom.
betcha.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Griffin.
I'd love to ask you about.
No, I was just going to say he doesn't have Skubal's velo, but to Ben's part,
yeah.
I mean, the thing that makes Skubal so unhittable is he's throwing a changeup 10 miles an hour below his fastball, and I think the thing too that's similar is how they attack the hitter. They're aggressively coming down the mound toward the hitter, and if you're a hitter, it cannot be a comfortable at bat.
Tom, I'd love to ask you about Jose Ramirez. Just kind of what he means.
Why?
Because he's an
He's
unbelievable
so
player.
good.
Yeah, and he kills the Orioles. We're obviously dealing with this with Gunnar Henderson, and I feel like anytime I'm paying attention to Cleveland, Ramirez is the only jersey anybody's wearing, and he owns that city. Like, what is it like to watch him day in and day out? And it's very unlikely the Orioles are going to be able to get anything done with Gunnar, but like what would it mean is there any comparison you could see if Baltimore was able to keep Gunnar around for as long as Cleveland has been able to keep Ramirez?
Yeah, I just think it's so special in this day and age, in all sports really, but in particular when you talk about baseball, how few guys play their entire career with one team. And we talked about it a little bit last night, when I think of the great tradition that the Baltimore Orioles have had down through the years, but you think pitching, who do you think of?
Jim Palmer.
It's Jim Palmer, and you think of Brooks Robinson, and you think of Cal Ripken. And, I think of having grown up in Wisconsin, Robin Yount and Kirby Puckett and Joe Mauer in Minnesota and George Brett in Kansas City. Now, look, they were all great players, but I think they're even more enhanced by the fact that they played with one team. And the beauty of all these guys that we're talking about, none of the markets that we're talking about are what you would consider the primary elite markets, whether it's New York or Chicago or LA or even Boston for that matter. And I think that's what makes it so special. And Jose Ramirez is going to play his entire career here. He signed the extension and he is locked up for the next 7 years. And, it was a win-win for both sides. I mean, people talk that, Cleveland's getting him at under market value. Well, there's no question he would have made more money if he went out on the open market, but he didn't want that.
Yep.
He wanted the comfort level that he has here in Cleveland because he knew he could thrive here. He saw what other players went through when they signed big contracts, but went to a new city, a new franchise, and struggled with all of that. And he's being well compensated. I mean, he's still going to be making $25 million a year when he's 40 years of age. And, you don't know how that contract will age the last 2-3 years of it based on a player's age, especially if they're doing things the right way and they're not chemically enhanced like some of the players we saw having career years at age 38. So I just think it is so special. You would love for it to happen with a guy like Gunnar Henderson or Adley Rutschman or some of these terrific young players that Baltimore has drafted and developed. That's why I think, guys, it's been so encouraging to see what's happened with Connor Griffin in Pittsburgh and Kevin McGonigal with the Detroit Tigers. And obviously there have been other such signings of young players. I mean, heck, Milwaukee gave a kid a long-term deal, and I don't know if he's out of Double-A yet, much less, close to the major leagues. So you got a chance then, and I don't know, guys, I guess if you're not in that position, it's hard to maybe equate it, but how much money is enough? And my gosh, if you're happy, if you're comfortable, you're able to thrive now. These guys that we're talking about, and Jose as well, he's able to go out and just play.
Yep.
Not thinking about anything other than going out, trying to win a game and play.
Excellently stated there by Tom Hamilton, the voice of the Cleveland Guardians. Tom, what's it like watching Jose finally get a player? And you had Lindor for a while, but get a player that's sort of in his ballpark with the potential that Chase DeLauter has right now.
Yeah, I really think it's huge because it changes how teams are attacking this ball club. Now, you've got to make sure you've got somebody behind him protecting him, or else Jose Ramirez is never going to get a pitch to hit.
Yep.
And why would you let Jose beat you if the guy behind him isn't hitting? So it's just important to have that guy behind him as it is in front of him. But, you know, Chase DeLauter is benefiting by hitting in front of Jose Ramirez because teams are going to challenge Chase DeLauter, not wanting to put him on and, you know, feel the wrath of Jose Ramirez. So I think it's been a win-win for both guys. And you know what, guys, at the end of the day, especially if you're looking ahead and you're hopefully playing in October, you know, the scouting reports then at that time, you're not going to lose a playoff game if you feel there's only one guy in your lineup that can beat you. When Cleveland was in its heyday, you know, they had 1 through 9 that could beat you.
Yep.
I mean, the good teams that win aren't reliant on one guy in October, because if you are, you can negate that one guy and pitch around him come October. So it's critically important, and that's why I think, guys, this ball club will be even better come June or July, because I think you'll see Travis Bazzana up here in the near future, and he was the number 1 pick in the draft 2 years ago and is starting to really come on in Columbus, and they've got more good young kids coming. So I think this club will be a better ball club when we see you folks in Baltimore in September.
You know, it's off the field, but what Stephen Vogt did last night to the furniture in the manager's office, did you hear about that?
Heard it, saw it, and talked to both Voter and Elvie about it. I mean, those guys are as thick as brothers.
Yep.
And, man, they can go at each other, and that was entertainment in itself every day when Craig Alvarez was here as the bench coach, and to watch him and Voter go at it in Voter's office. I mean, that you could have sold tickets to that, and it was pretty typical to see what they did. I know Toys R Us is closed, so I don't know, where do you get all those little type
I don't
play
know.
tables and chairs and desks and whatnot? I mean, there was some thought that went into that, but I'll tell you what, guys, I think you're realizing it now. I think you've got one of the really bright and upcoming managers in the game, and you know, Craig Alvarez is going to do a great job in Baltimore, and I think you're already seeing it now. Again, we talked about it last night. It's one thing to have 13 players on the injured list like Baltimore has, but you've got some of the elite young players in the game on that injured list, and yet Baltimore's keeping its head above water, and if they can do that and then get healthy, look out.
Thank you for that breakdown of Craig Alvarez. As an aspiring young broadcaster, Tom, I mean, and I can't pretend I've heard all of your calls, but obviously your most famous one was the Down Goes Anderson. What was it like? What was going through your mind when you saw that all unfold on the field, and obviously those two guys square off with Jose and Tim Anderson?
Well, I mean, it's almost a blur, to be honest, because it happens so fast. It's not like you saw this coming. Mm-hmm. It's one thing, and we don't see it anymore now for the most part, and that is somebody gets drilled and the batter charges the mound. You can kind of anticipate that happening, but you don't normally see a brawl break out on a head-first slide into second base. So, you know, that got ratcheted up in a hurry, and I guess the other thing is I've never really seen anyone do what Tim Anderson did, and that is throw down his glove and square off. And it's like, okay, be careful what you wish for. And, you know, Tim Anderson was out on his feet with the punch that Jose landed, and Jose landed that punch with Michael Kopech draped all over his back. And so Tim Anderson was fortunate that Kopech maybe lessened the blow a little bit, because otherwise, he may have been down for a long time. But it was unusual. I was fortunate enough that I had a pretty good view of it. And, because it was such a bang-bang play at second base, you didn't take your eye off the play because you didn't know if he was safe or out. And if you looked down to your scorecard like you normally do to write it in, by the time you looked up, things would have already been full throttle and you wouldn't have had any idea what was going on. So I was pretty lucky. Tom,
last question I've got for you. We've only played, 18 to 20 games, all the teams have played roughly. It looks like sort of a real cluster of teams.
Mm-hmm.
No, you take the Dodgers out of it for a minute, but it looks like Minnesota's far better than we thought going into the year. Tampa's playing well. The Angels are playing well. It just looks like it's not going to be a runaway for anybody right now.
No, it's an interesting point you bring up because, and we played the Dodgers and beat LA 2 out of 3.
Yeah.
Now, are we as good as the Dodgers? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
But, this time of the year, you wonder if the Dodgers are a little bored. I mean, they're the only team in baseball that can have a full rotation on the injured list and save them for August and September if they want, and still get into the playoffs. So the excess of riches that the Dodgers have is, an edge that no other ball club in the game has. But to your point, you're not seeing anybody have that great start.
Yep.
Or all of a sudden be 5-6 games. Really, that's kind of what Detroit did a year ago.
Yeah.
They got that great start, and Cleveland was 15 and a half games out of first in July. And it looked like a runaway for the Tigers until Cleveland made history and took the division there the last day of the season. So, I think, it's bizarre to me, the parity that we have with the disparity that we have right now when it comes to payrolls.
Yeah.
Now, what usually happens is those payrolls win out as far as the big payrolls normally are the teams that get to October. There's usually one or two exceptions, but that's where that really becomes a big weapon for teams with that kind of payroll and that kind of depth. But gosh, I think it's been a terrific start to the year.
Yep.
Kind of following up on, guys, what might have been one of the most entertaining postseasons from top to bottom that we've had in recent memory.
Great point. Tom, always a pleasure to catch up, and I really appreciate you giving us a glimpse of what's going on in Cleveland. All right?
Oh, it was great to be with you guys. Thanks for having me, and all the best, and we'll see you in September.
All right. 3 more games, Orioles versus the Guardians. 3 more games up there. 6:10 tonight, Chris Bassett versus Tanner Bybee. Tomorrow night, 6:10, it'll be tomorrow night is Dean Kramer versus Gavin Williams, and then Sunday afternoon at 1:40, it'll be
So you got it.
Trevor Rogers.
Boom.
Versus Joey Cantillo.
You nailed it.
I got it 3 other times. Okay. Let's take a look at this week in the rest of baseball, and it's brought to you
This
by...
week in the rest of baseball.
Quib, this week in the rest of baseball, will be brought to us today. Oh, I see what you're trying to set me up, Stan. Yeah. Well, we can make sure we get the correct plugs in. Hold on, let me make sure I get the music correct here, Stan. But yes, Twib.
Let's try that again. This week in the rest of baseball, and it's brought to you by...
Have you ever thought of taking a cruise to these wonderful destinations with sunny skies and beautiful beaches? Well, wait no longer. We're ready for you to cruise from the Cruise Maryland Terminal.
Have a little phrase that you can go from baggage to margarita in about 15 minutes.
Choose fun with an array of destinations, onboard activities, entertainment, and world-class cuisine.
Contact your travel agent and book your cruise today. Let your adventure begin.
You are getting into it with that
Yeah,
song.
I
Stan.
love that
You
song.
you
Love that song.
Thanks to Cruise, Maryland, of course. Sorry, I was jumping the gun. I just really wanted to play the Twib music.
I got you.
All right, this week in the rest of baseball, Stan, where should we start? I mean, kind of, we were kind of diving into it with Tom a little bit, but yeah, the parody of baseball is certainly on display, and it's giving way to pretty great entertaining games. We had comebacks galore this week. Obviously, we saw the Orioles trailing 6-1 early against Arizona on Monday. The Padres, who we referenced already, were trailing 6-0 on Wednesday night before Jackson Merrill came up with a big home run robbery, and then he reeled one back in. He got the home run robbery, and then they ended up walking. They were trailing 6-2 in the bottom of the ninth, and then they ended up walking off against Seattle, thanks to Jackson Merrill scoring 5 runs in the bottom of the ninth inning to defeat Seattle, and obviously Mason Miller, who you referenced, Stan, has been unreal. He has struck out 20 of the last 23 batters he's faced.
That's pretty good.
He struck out 30 of the last 38, 40 of the last 55, and it kind of just goes on.
Yeah.
He struck out 80 of the last 135 batters that he has faced, which no one has ever. No MLB pitcher in the last, at least the last 50 years.
Do.
It's pretty difficult.
Yeah.
It's pretty difficult. At
If
least
they
it's
had let me
proven to be
make
difficult.
a major league team, I think I could have done
You think you could have done that? Then why didn't you make a major league team?
I don't know. I don't know.
Mason Miller makes it look easy, and the Padres are at the moment giving the Dodgers a little bit of a run for their money. They're in second place in the NL West at 13-6 overall, while the Dodgers have the best record in baseball, 14-4. So Padres second best record in baseball. We'll see how long that lasts, if they can continue to threaten the Los Angeles Dodgers. The Rays had to come back the other night. They were trailing, and as we referenced already, they're leading the American League East. So they were trailing in the ninth inning before scoring 3 runs against White Sox closer former Sir Anthony Dominguez, and they defeated the White Sox. And then the best series of the week, Stan, were you able to tune into any of the Angels-Yankees series?
I watched a little of it. I had a sickening night from a fantasy perspective. I had Jack Kokonowitz, who would have gotten the win, and Jordan Romano came in for the second time in the series and blew a save. But in fairness to him, did you see the pop-up?
The one that they just let drop.
Chisholm.
Yeah,
it just
that was
dropped
ridiculous.
between Zach Neto, and they kept I was so in disbelief.
It was Little League.
Yeah, it looked like the Bad
Angels,
News Bears.
Angels gonna angel, unfortunately. The series, nonetheless, was very entertaining. I think what was it Monday night's game that was like it ended 11-10. But Trout homered in every single game. Judge homered not in every game, but he homered almost every day. Your boy Reed Detmers came up with a big game. Was that Wednesday's or Tuesday's game?
Yeah, Tuesday's game.
7 innings, no walks, 9 strikeouts, and got a win in Yankee Stadium as the Angels are playing 500 baseball at the moment. And Mike Trout having a career renaissance, it appears. He was banged up the last several years. He's struggled to play a full season. Glenn and I have talked about it ad nauseum. We fought about it a little bit, but he looks to be like Mike. He appears to look like Mike Trout again this season, which is good for baseball. It's good for the Angels. He homered in all 4 games in the series. Did you see yesterday's? I don't think it landed yet. He hit a 450-foot bomb yesterday in Yankee Stadium, and he's homered in 5 straight games against the Yankees, dating back to last season. First player since 2012 to homer in 5 straight games against the Yankees.
Yeah, who was the last player?
Yeah, who was the last one?
5 straight games. Was it an Oriole?
It was an Oriole, yeah. 2012.
2012. Aubrey Huff.
Not Aubrey Huff. I don't think he was on the 12 Orioles.
Okay, who was it?
It was their third baseman at the time.
Manny Machado.
No, not that many. Not that third baseman. Mark Reynolds.
Mark Reynolds.
Was he playing first at that point? Because I thought Davis was at first. Yeah.
He probably played a little bit of both.
First player to hit a home run in 5 straight games against the Yankees since Mark Reynolds. So pretty cool there, Trout and Reynolds. And then 2 other guys have also hit 5 homers in 5 straight games against the Yankees. That was Albert Bell. Albert Bell in 94, and then Harold Baines did it across 2 seasons as well in the 80s. Okay. Baines, Bell, Reynolds, and Trout. Elite group, huh?
I'm going to remember that.
Ohtani continues to be Shohei Ohtani. He only pitched. Was that Wednesday night? I should have wrote down the days.
Yeah, he only pitched. He did not DH.
Yeah, he did not DH.
Not bat.
Against your precious Mets. He only
he wouldn't have been technically the DH. He just would have been the
He was just the pitcher. Yeah, he did not play. He did not hit, and it didn't. And it worked out pretty well. He was touching 100 with his fastball. He was slowing. He was reeling back to 72 miles per hour on the curve. He's only allowed 1 run over 18 innings to start the season. So Shohei Ohtani looks like
pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good from Shohei Ohtani. How about, do you know who Jordan Walker is? You know who Jordan Walker is?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, with the Cardinals.
Mrs. Walker's
he might
son.
He might be the best player in baseball. 7 homers, 15 RBIs. He has the Cardinals playing good right now. They're also above 500 when I don't think anyone thought they were going to be very good. They're 10-8. I mean, yeah, when you look at the standings, there's a lot
the
of.
team that surprised me is the Angels are
They're
very
10 they're 500 though.
Yeah, they're very competitive at 500. You know.
And I guess it's a lot of that's due to Mike Trout being healthy. Joe Adele's playing really well. He keeps or defensively.
Let's not
and then
forget
Jorge
one
Soler.
let's not forget one thing about Trout. A week ago, he was batting about 170, and he was you were almost saying this is beginning to get a little embarrassing, with his batting average. Now, I wasn't watching every game, so I don't know how hard he was hitting the ball.
Yeah.
He's up to 250 now, and looks like,
5 homers in 4 days. All he needed to do was play the Yankees,
How many
I
he
guess.
got for the year now? 7?
Home run wise, yeah, 7. 7 home runs. He's got 16 RBI.
And they're getting big production out of Soler.
Yeah, Soler's been
and
great.
Neto's always going to be productive, so they've been an entertaining team.
Yeah, if their pitching can keep up, you free Detmers, and they just need if Romano can keep the ball in the ballpark, then maybe
Kahanowitz,
Yeah, right, Kahanowitz.
Yeah.
Your boy Jack Kahanowitz, he's on your fantasy team, I guess. Yeah. So don't bet on Jack Kahanowitz then.
Well, I bet on Parker Messick last night.
Okay.
He was pretty good.
He was on Messick's on your team. That's right.
I got Messick, Detmers, and Kahanowitz, but I don't have Hunter Brown, who's on the IL. Shane Smith was optioned. Cody Ponce is out for the year. All my starters, I lost 4 starters.
So is Messick the runaway for Rookie of the Year right now? Then is in the American League? Does that seem like the
right now he's got a shot. There's no question about it.
Who did we pick? We picked all McGonigal, I think. You picked DeLauder. You picked DeLauder. Glenn and I picked Kevin McGonigal. Kevin McGonigal. I was going to see how quickly I could pull up odds. Maybe not. Another rookie, though, that has been looking really well and really good in the National League, Sal Stort.
Yes.
With the Cincinnati Reds. He had 2 home runs on
Mrs.
Wednesday.
Stort's son.
2 home runs on Wednesday. He's OPSing 1.150. He looks like the real deal for the Reds. Where did he? I don't even know anything about him. Like where he came from.
Don't know much about him. Yeah.
I think he plays first base.
He played
for
a
him.
little bit last year, didn't he?
A little bit, yes.
Yeah.
Very little. He looks like the real deal. He's on my fantasy team because I get to do National League players, Stan. So so he looks pretty solid over there. I'm trying to pull up what we got Rookie of the Year odds wise. Messick is plus 600, 4th best odds.
Who's right now? DeLauder?
McGonigal plus 250.
Okay.
DeLauder plus 350, and then Murakami for the White Sox. Can I bet on it to be an American League Central? Carter Jensen's got the fit. The top 5 players are all from the AL Central.
Wow.
Yeah, that is weird.
That's interesting.
It
That is interesting.
Sal Stort is edging Nolan McLean right now in the National League odds for Rookie of the Year.
Okay.
I think that's the big one. I think those are all the big ones. Did I miss anything, Stan? I mean, yeah, the Rays are leading the American League East. The Twins. I meant to talk about the Twins. They are 11-8. The Orioles took 2 of 3 from the Twins in the opening series.
Yep.
And we were like, well, that's a bad baseball team. Can't learn a whole lot from it. They're leading the AL Central.
They're getting some terrific pitching from Joe Ryan, of course.
Yes.
But Mick Abel has done very well.
The other night.
And Bailey Ober's been a little bit better. I'm missing one starter there. Simeon Woods Richardson started good for 2 starts. He's been so-so, but they've had somebody else that's pretty good.
Hold on, I'm
or
going
is
to pull it up.
It's one other starter.
I'm going to pull it up. Josh Bell's been great at the plate.
Ryan, Abel.
Taj Bradley's been good.
Taj Bradley, that was it.
Bradley's
that was the third
good,
guy. Yep. Okay.
Yeah, Taj Bradley pitches tomorrow
Problems
night.
in their bullpen, though. They've got a suspect bullpen. All right. MLB Power Rankings. We'll take a quick look at them right now.
Power Rankings brought to you by CountySports.zone, Stan. Best place to get your latest on high school sports across the state, every county, every sport. CountySports.zone, powered by BioToyota.com.
All right. And also these Power Rankings are powered by
Boom.
443 Results. Byron Warnken, the law office is Byron Warnken. 443 Results or WarnkenLaw.com. WARNKEN, WarnkenLaw.com. Dodgers are sitting high atop. They are now 14-4, but not running away from the San Diego Padres, who will be moving up. Winners of 9 in a row. They moved up from 21st or 22nd in my power rankings, 21st
I'll correct
to
you,
16.
It's just 8 in a row right now.
No, they've got 9.
I believe it's just 8.
I've got they won their last 5 last week. I think you're right. They've won 8 out of 9.
Okay.
All right, they've won 8 in a row.
But still, that's a good.
They're
works,
going to be moving up. There's number
Where were they
16,
last week?
They were 16
Oh
this
my
week.
goodness. Yeah.
They'll probably move into the top 10 based on this.
Well, they got to move into the top 10. You're not saying top 5. You're not going to go that.
No, I don't.
Mason Miller only all he does is strike guys out.
I don't jump teams like 10 or 12 places often.
You like to be late to the party?
I'm still suspicious of their starting pitching.
Sure.
Pivetta now is
Pivetta
out.
hurt. Yeah.
So we'll see. But we'll also see how they finish up the week. They've got the Angels this week in San Diego. But the Dodgers were 1, Seattle was 2, the Yankees 3, Atlanta 4, the Cubs 5. Atlanta probably will move up into the second position depending upon how they play this weekend at Philly and how the Yankees do in Kansas City. Atlanta, due to get Spencer Strider back in the not-too-distant future. He had his first rehab start last night at high A, so he'll probably step up and do double A. Cleveland will probably move up a tiny bit. Detroit will probably move up a little bit. And the A's are looking more and more like a dangerous team to me this year. So,
and Nick Kurtz isn't even. Nick Kurtz
hasn't
been well.
Even really
gotten Brent Rooker's
going
hurt.
yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll update those power rankings. Come out every Monday, and I work on them all week long. And that's going to do it for the show. Do we have anything other pieces of business to take care of?
I don't think so. We
right.
kind of talked to you love the Ravens uniforms. We covered that.
I don't love the Ravens.
Oh, you hate them?
I haven't seen them yet, really, that carefully. I said it looks like the helmet changed. Did they have like
they're very slight changes.
Did they have like a dark helmet with a dark?
They kind of. So the big changes that I could tell is that they kind of changed the trim around. Oh, the screen's not working. Darn it.
Yeah.
All right. You're right.
All
All right. We'll hold off.
All right. That's going to do it for this week on the Friday Baseball Show with Stan the Fan and Griffin Bass. We apologize that we weren't able to deliver Miguel Cairo. We're going to try and reschedule
it's on Stan.
him next Friday. And we apologize for Luke Jones having a bad phone connection.
Still got some good info from Luke.
Tom Hamilton was fantastic, and we could hear him. All right? Luke was terrific when we could hear him.
Yeah.
And we'll get Luke on the show again sometime in the near future. All right, that does it for today. Have a good week. Glenn back Monday through Friday. Have a great weekend, everybody.